Okay,
I don't have any.
it's 7:00, and call the board meeting to order. I look for approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Oh, she said aye. Item 3, public hearings and citizen comments on items not listed on this agenda and will not be debated or acted upon at this meeting, but will be referred to the proper staff or committee if action is required. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. No one here, okay. Item 4, look for approval of the consent agenda.
I have a question on part D, letter D.
Yes.
Number 18. On one form, Jeff approved it, and one form he denied it. So I'm wondering what your final.
One was like a conditional use permit.
Yeah, one was
They're basically two forms, and one
was provisional.
Yep.
That was approved.
Because the provisional does not have the section where it talks about, have you ever been convicted of any misdemeanor or municipal ordinance within the last 10 years? That's not on the provisional, so I had to approve the provisional. The reason I denied it is because of
OWI.
No, because this person engaged in some criminal activity. He was given some citations for, so that's why the operator license got denied. But I believe the village hall was going to change.
So we changed the form. It does say on provisional conviction of any misdemeanor. The words that are missing on the provisional is municipal ordinance. So all we did was add municipal ordinance to the provisional. So if you look at the provisional, so the only thing that's different here is have you been convicted of a misdemeanor or municipal ordinance? And this one says, have you ever been convicted of any misdemeanor? So we did change that to make it consistent. I talked to Sam too, and he's planning on, he spoke with Chief, so he's planning on reapplying, I believe, so.
Or he's gonna reapply, so we.
Yeah, the village, in the ordinances, they can reapply even if they get denied.
It doesn't change the reason why he was denied.
Well, he was denied on the operator license because he didn't disclose everything. So now if he gets denied tonight, the reason I understand is he can reapply then right away again.
So we're gonna.
Well, not necessarily, because now he'll list what he didn't list.
Right, but the things he's gonna list
But if you look at the reasons why I can deny an operator license, if he lists everything, and if you look at the other two reasons on why he can do it, they're not felonies.
Okay, I move to approve the consent agenda. That is a denial of the operator's license by doing that.
So did we deny this at the last board meeting?
No, it's the first.
This is the first, yeah.
We have had people in the past that have been denied for this exact case, and Jeff is exactly right. He, there's a list of reasons here that says why he denied it. Now, the board has the final say in the approval and denial. Obviously, it's in our best interest to listen to what the chief police tell you. So, we have had people though that have been denied for that reason and then reapplied. The ordinance has no language about them having to wait so long or anything like that.
Do you think we need to look at this so they can't keep reapplying if you deny it once? So they can correct the application and get a license?
Yeah, I think if they get denied, you would think they'd have to wait so many months or something before they could reapply.
And the one thing I will say is that whether they get approved or denied, they pay the fee every month. So we're not out the fee. It's an application fee, it's not a permit fee. You pay every time you apply.
But we had this happen before, where we denied it,
They
they came back, and filled the form out correctly, and Jeff has approved it. And brought
Because
to
it
the
doesn't
board.
meet the criteria of why I can deny it. Because if you look, there's only 3 reasons I can deny it. And if it doesn't fit in there because of the time limit or it's not a felony, I have to approve it. I do have discussions with some of the businesses who know this person was charged with it and what kind of criminal activity they engaged in at their previous job. And sometimes they're like, no, I didn't know that, and then they don't want them to. They just didn't do that.
there a timeline where you consider it a wash, like, let's say they engaged in criminal activity 8 years ago?
By the standards on the form, if you look at the form,
You just have
then
to,
I can go 5 years or
okay,
10 years. I can't go, past that. And it's gotta be activity that would affect this, like one time I denied one because somebody years ago was applying to be a operator at one of the bars and they had a bunch of credit card frauds where they were stealing people's credit cards at a business, at a, different business. And it was like, I don't want this person working because people are paying with credit cards.
yeah.
So do we need to change it or not?
Oh, we can't, we
We can't deny it.
I'm not saying
some-
tonight, I mean, in the future, do we need to change it?
It might be look and see what other municipalities,
Yeah. that's
Okay.
what
do.
So I think it's just something we need to look at.
Look at,
Yep.
see how others.
I agree.
Okay, we have a motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Aye.
carries. Thank you. New business, item A, consideration discussion, New Glarus Brewing Hilltop expansion blasting permit.
So the permit application is starting on page 24. It's kind of a lengthy process to apply for this, and our engineer reviews it all and does the back and forth with the applicant to work through details. The applicant, construction manager, that's the title.
I'm a project manager.
Project
Keller,
manager.
And I'm the manager of this.
And representative from Essex Blasting is here.
I'm the operations manager.
They're here to answer any questions you might have.
Very similar to a water tower.
Yeah.
Seems like the same, same blasting.
Same type of.
Yeah,
Yes.
same type,
Is there anything that, red flags, or is it the standard?
Pretty much standard. I mean, there's a few things you gotta watch out for, like
Right.
the building structures and the well, but.
Yeah, like right, brewery, right there, like.
Yeah.
Right in the building.
Yeah.
The water tower wasn't that close, to any,
Yeah.
quite different.
Yeah, on page 27, you can see the blast site and how close it is to both the brewery and neighboring residences.
This is, one.
So we need a motion to approve. Application for permit to operate rock crusher or form blasting.
Yeah, that's the blasting element.
Motion to approve blasting permit.
Second.
So,
You guys have a- Can I have the list over blasting stuff? Great enough. Well, you just passed the test, good job.
so with the differences you've got located to these houses, like 955 feet or 936, will they feel,
Yes, they will feel, basically what they're gonna feel, it's not gonna be the ground vibration, it's gonna be the air blast.
oh,
The shock wave.
okay,
Because I live a mile from a quarry and I feel it.
uh-huh, okay.
So,
Do
yeah.
you notify them at all?
We are gonna notify them by, we're gonna send letters out,
Okay,
and then we're probably gonna offer them inspections via their location.
Can you call the PD for you guys, that day, whatever day you're gonna do it?
We're gonna blast twice a day.
Oh, just whatever days you do it.
Yeah, we wanna keep it small, we don't wanna make one big bomb.
We got a needy community, if somebody looks up the bottle rock, we're really falls.
Did we have to notify last time we were down?
Whoever was doing the water tower, every
Yeah.
time they call us.
Yeah, we can do that.
Just so they know, so people call in and say, I heard something.
Yeah.
okay, we have a motion and second, all in favor, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, gentlemen?
Thanks,
Is
guys.
there anything
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Item B.
Pretty sure we got it, but I'll get it.
See you later.
See ya.
Item B, consideration, discussion, fire department, fire truck purchase.
Jesse, do you want to handle this, or do you want me to?
There's really not much to talk about. I mean, Kevin came and explained everything to us. There's really no questions besides the wheels. I think, we're probably good to go. They spent a lot of time making sure we had the right thing, and there's a group of firefighters that, added in some, very inexpensive things that make their jobs easier, so. Well, there's something else you want to add?
Yeah, I'll just talk budget a little bit. So the total cost is $1,397,840. There's a progress payment of $645,000 due upon chassis completion. And they're anticipating that would occur in 2026. We had budgeted the full amount in 2027. So there will be some adjustment to the CIP in order to handle that. So our obligations, we're not paying that full amount. So the village's obligations would be around $246,000 in 2026 and $286,000 in 2027.
Which is you can rearrange.
I'll figure it out. Well, and it'll come back to you guys during budget season, so you'll get to see the changes and have input on that.
I would also say that since, the way things go when you're custom building anything, it's usually behind. And the first payment is for the chassis. Once the chassis is completed, then it goes to the builder, and then the builder starts building the truck. So I don't think, whenever they say it's done, I would highly doubt it's done on time, but I think we'll probably budget for it.
So Jesse, has there been any more
God, I could have used that.
Figure it out right away when I went outside.
I know we talked about it here, but was there any more discussion at the district board about the money that they're getting from selling the trucks that they're gonna sell? I mean, I know, I'm just curious as to why that wouldn't just be applied back to this, to kind of take a little bit, I mean, I guess not a ton of money, but.
Yeah, they didn't really explain where it goes. I think it's sort of, so a lot of the fire department puts their money back into equipment or they'll buy special things that we don't have to pay for. I think it's just gonna put it in an account to pay for other things. So, well, I could say, hey, show me where that money goes, so we all know that it went towards something and know what it went towards. Because $20,000 for a fire department is a pretty small amount of money, and that's what they're trying to get, I think, for the used truck.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm more keen just, and it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, I just wanna know that it's not gonna just sit in an account for, you know, I mean, making sure that that money would be more useful to municipalities.
Yeah, and it also would pay for a lot of interest.
Well, right, I mean, and like I said, I know $20,000 is not a lot, but, I mean, we probably get 8,000 of that, you know.
No, totally. Yeah, we can. There's special fire truck things back up. They're changing one of the chutes that water gets drained out of the truck, and they're changing another part of the truck to bring water in faster. And they're changing the control panels so that way, someone can operate the water from the outside of the truck. Yeah.
It's nothing new, okay.
It's something like super big, and there's a group of 5 or 6 guys, one of them is my wife's uncle, that, they made a list of things that they wanted to put on the new fire truck that would make things faster and easier for them. And, my point, it seemed like they were doing everything cheapest and the best. If I asked them to put my name on the truck. No big deal. On my face.
They turn that part down.
An approval of the fire truck budget, I guess.
I motion to approve the fire truck budget.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item C, consideration of special ordinance 25-01 to create 129 chapter 129, cemeteries in the municipal code of the village of New Glarus, Wisconsin, to establish rules and regulations for the New Glarus Cemetery and create section 1613 cemetery board to provide oversight over cemetery management. Laura?
All right, I passed out an
updated ordinance. Just had a few minor edits that Christina, the former cemetery manager, provided a little bit of feedback, so I made some edits. Plus, there was several spelling errors due to spell check not working. So this ordinance, I modeled a lot of it from Belleville, actually. So I didn't come up with this myself. I definitely copied quite a bit. And then I customized it for our situation. I did have our attorney review it, and he said it was good to go. The only major things to point out, one, I did change, I did change the cemetery commission to cemetery board. This is just the recommendation from our attorney. So the cemetery board is going to act a lot like the library board in that they kind of oversee the funds for the cemetery and kind of oversee policies and kind of work with the cemetery manager to just oversee day to day. But the village board will obviously approve their overall budget, similar to the library board has to go to the village board for approval of their funding. What else?
How many members on the board?
You got them there, Larry.
That is
One.
5 members.
Oh, it's fine.
1 village trustee, 1 representative from the community churches, and 3 citizen members. 1 citizen member may be a resident of the town of New Glarus, but a majority of, should say board members, sorry, there's our mistake here. Board members must be village of New Glarus residents.
Or is there gonna be schedule established yet for like the sales box?
There's not. My intention would be to keep what this church has currently until we have a cemetery board up and running to review those fees.
So there could be potential, I mean, is it something that they consider like a resident versus non-resident fee?
I would,
Or,
this is good.
just because the
Yes.
village is the only party keeping in the money?
Yes, I would switch the church versus non-church member and make it resident versus non-resident. Yes.
I have a question on page 4, 129 F. Interment of 2 or more bodies, how many more can you have in one grave?
That's a good question.
Well, if it's cremated.
They are cremated, none of which are
Oh,
cremated.
none of which are,
In one grave will be allowed.
Yeah.
More
Sorry, that
bodies.
should not be allowed.
Okay. I was thinking stacked of bodies.
but if you do have one going at the, on
Okay.
top, they would put the other one lower.
The only time you would have more than one in a grave would be if they were cremated.
Okay. It's like,
Which is part G, you can have 4. Allowed in one lot. F was the only one I didn't under, okay, that answers that. And then part B, it's got all interments shall be made in a permanent outer burial container. Does permanent mean non-decomposable?
Yeah, correct.
you don't want.
Why?
Because you don't want to. And that's
Oh,
the
it's all gonna degrade at some point in the future.
Not the way they make them now.
It's a hole.
Yeah.
I mean, I've excavated like 100-plus-year-old vaults that were like.
I would think you want everybody to go down to the bones eventually.
What are we talking about?
Well, those are.
What do you need?
This is our new job now. It's
Yes,
talk about-
what do you need from this?
I
Okay.
do have a question.
Well, there are some cemeteries, I know, like my father, where he was put in lower so that my mother eventually would be on top, but then he would, I think that obviously, it was a long time ago, but I know there was an expertise to that,
And that would be the special circumstances.
Doesn't give anything to add?
No. No, both cemeteries are gonna be declared.
Yeah. I think it's just easier to have them umbrella under one, but we'll reference them as like the main cemetery is a little cemetery. cemetery, for dogs are allowed in the cemetery.
I vote to approve whatever Lauren.
What does it say?
It doesn't say anything about that.
Great. I think,
I see a lot of dogs peeing on graves.
I would believe.
I don't think
That's
dogs
gross.
should be in
I was
cemetery.
gonna say, I believe
True.
Belleville's language,
No.
and maybe I didn't include it, but we can, is that dogs are only allowed in cars at the cemetery.
Can they be buried in the cemetery?
We have an ordinance.
What, do you get a ticket?
Yeah, you can get a ticket for your dog being in a cemetery.
Okay, Jeff, thank you.
I'm almost
But you can have-
Well, that's only in cars, so.
There's no signage.
Well, we're gonna put the signage up there anyway, and we'll just have to put.
All
those
this
dogs
can be
out.
handled by our trustee,
That's all my
cemetery board.
questions.
Yeah, so there's a few friendly amendments, I caught a couple errors, but overall, if you're okay with me making two friendly amendments, I think we should be good to go.
I move to approve ordinance 25-01.
You have to put creation section.
No, it's all within the ordinance.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Item B, consideration discussion resolution 2520 fee schedule.
All right. So on page 80, I have our fee schedule. During the discussion last meeting about the chamber paying, for public works staff time for festival setup and, other related tasks, we talked about charging other, events, for that assistance as well. So, we added in the special events permit section, page 83, an additional $50 charge for public works barricades and or parking signs assistance. Kelsey and I went back and forth on what that fee should be. Obviously, we don't want to make it too high so that they opt out of getting barricades when they need it. And obviously, we don't want it too low either, because we want to recover staff time. So any feedback on that would be greatly appreciated, but we thought $50 was reasonable on top of the, special event permit fee.
I will move to approve resolution 2502.
Second.
Just want to mention one other thing, which is I highlighted a few other sections where I just added plus cost to the fee, for items where I'm normally consulting our either engineer or planning consultant, and they spend time on that, and so I want to recover those costs.
Good. Okay, we have a motion in second?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Item E, consideration discussion resolution 25-03 for appointment of full-time jury lineman worker.
So some of you might know Pete. He was previously a journey line worker. Actually, he left right when I started, so not even too long ago. He would like to return and fill Kevin's seat. And so Phil and I interviewed him, made sure that this was still a good fit for him, kind of talk about why he left originally, and kind of work through some of those things, and we feel good about bringing him back.
What are you doing originally?
Not happy with management?
And who's his manager?
Joe.
It came originally to us from MG, or Reliance, Reliance.
So those of you with that too, yeah.
Motion to approve resolution 2503.
Second. Okay, we have a motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Item F, consideration special resolution 25-04 for appointment of part-time cemetery manager.
All right.
I know, I can Google it
interviewed 3 people for it, which is great.
Yeah.
All good candidates, but really excited to bring Lynn back to the village.
Yeah.
Very
Yes.
excited.
Lynn will be an awesome person to have back. She's very knowledgeable and very easy for her to just meld right into our operations. So we're really excited
I
about that.
know there's lots of people in the community.
Has already started talking to Bonnie Classy and the church about it. So yeah, I think it'll be a easy transition.
But then public records are kept, so having somebody that has master Excel skills is really important.
I move to approve resolution 25.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Here that time.
Motion carried. Item G, consideration just, I don't know that.
Pfizer.
Pfizer Payment Solutions Agreement.
We're good about Pfizer.
Thank you.
All right, so we used to accept credit card payments at the village, and we went away with it because the credit card vendor was charging an arm and a leg to process payments. It wasn't a percentage fee, it was a lump cost.
We were
they
paying
were
like $300 to $400 to have like one or two
$15
$15 credit card.
So we canceled that.
Yeah, it made sense when before the utility switch, because as we were basically piggybacking on the utility credit card transactions. So the fee for the village was very, very minimal. But then when the utility kind of went on and off, we got stuck with that, and we're like, nope, we're not doing this.
Yeah. So Kelsey and I decided to explore other options. I got connected with Pfizer, who seems really awesome. It kind of cuts out the middleman. Like Pfizer is like one of the biggest credit card processing companies in the world. And they have a pretty great deal, which is it's a 3% charge on cards. There's no cost to the village. The only cost is buying the terminal, which is $515. So we'd like to move forward with purchasing a terminal for Village Hall and for the police department. So we can start allowing people to pay with credit card again.
And this will also allow us to put a link on our website so people can pay with their credit card on the website for like room rent or community rentals, dog tags. I mean, we're gonna build that out more, but really,
So do people get charged at 3%?
regardless if it'll be 3% on $50 or 3% on $15,000.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. What do you want?
Motion to approve, I guess.
Motion to approve Pfizer Payment Solutions Agreement?
Okay.
Chickens.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item E, consideration, discussion, compliance service agreement with MEUW.
Right.
Page 122, the numbers are right.
Yes, they are. So our village public works and utility staff are a little bit behind on safety training. The last documented training with at least this group was 2021. And it is something that often falls on the back burner because it's not, it's not something that you're thinking of every day, but it's definitely something we need to be doing with our staff who are, doing risky things from time to time. So this is a really awesome program. We're basically paying 5% of a staff person at MEUW's time to basically keep track of all of our safety records, come in and do safety training, do risk assessments for us, et cetera, et cetera. The cost is, so in 2025, it's $7,500, in 26, $7,800, in 2027, $8,000. But that's split between public works and all the utilities. But I think this is a really nice way to keep track and keep on with our safety training, which is definitely an important aspect.
And this would allow to have the rest of the village staff go like clerk, library, et cetera, get CPR training, which is important too.
We've been talking about doing that for over a year, I think.
Can you train at what?
CPR.
Oh, you don't do CPR?
I did it in high school, but it's been a while.
Somebody else is trying here, because I go down.
Well, that's why we want to do this, so all of the library staff is interested, our office is interested.
It's a contractually, annual, is it an annual lease?
Yep, so it's a 3-year contract.
Oh, it's three, I'm
Yeah.
looking here.
We get a better deal if we sign on for 3 years.
But the utilities pretty much pay the cost.
Yeah, it'll be split amongst, but the facilities will cover the portion.
Should we go ahead and make a motion to approve?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Bonus. Library project update.
Oh, sure.
I think that's how that works, just go up here.
Obviously, I am not Amy, and I'm not going to give a huge official update. I will say that next Wednesday at 6:30, there is a public meeting. We're going to be talking with the architect to go over the floor plan and get into the nitty-gritty of how the space will be used. So if anyone's interested, please feel free to come.
I passed around, the sheets, so the most recent rendering, some of you have floor plans, I didn't have enough copies for everyone, but the updated floor plan.
I've got to see.
There's one scheduled for the 12th too, though, right?
Is it next Wednesday as well?
Oh,
Yes.
Yep,
yeah.
okay.
Do that.
Yes. So just a couple other updates. I think maybe Amy shared this at the last meeting, but we are hiring Stevie Schmidt to handle construction management, which is really helpful. They'll do cost estimating and help us do the bidding and just all kinds of helpful things that a construction manager provides. The other thing. We still are waiting on a grant agreement. That's getting pushed back. I think the state is just, there's a lot going on. But our grant administrator said he thinks mid-February we'll have that. So we keep pushing back the property purchase closing date, because we need to have a signed grant agreement before we can close. So that was pushed back to February 28th. And we're, fingers crossed, we would love to just get that done in this month. We're working with Focus on Energy, who is helping us evaluate energy saving bundles. We're looking at a geothermal bundle and a boiler bundle. Likely we'll probably go with the boiler, but they're evaluating to see what's possible there. We have PG Schmidt helping us run some numbers as well.
Yeah, so
We're not pursuing solar panels now, but we'll be ready. We'll set up the building to be ready for solar. We just think that we can fit it in this time frame.
Oh,
Yeah, what,
nope, we're good.
okay. We're still working through, some of the, like, floor plan details. For example, we're not sure if we'll include a family bathroom or not. We're trying to figure out if,
Last I heard from Amy, it's required by building, regulations.
they're still working through the details on that, because the architects disagree with the building inspector, so they're gonna hash it out.
Shouldn't we go with the building?
Well, it's a little bit more complicated. They have to like work through like what definitions they're using. But yeah, normally we would go with the building inspector.
That's a good point.
Well, and also, just speaking on behalf of the staff all believes that there should be a family bath. We work with a lot of families of young children, so
Yeah,
we're aware of the need.
absolutely. Yeah, any other questions?
Is there gonna be somebody that's gonna keep in touch and work with the project manager? Because that's very much emphasizes what we got coming up in Reed County, that somebody has to just don't let that project manager run loose.
So when you say project manager, who are you
Well-
referring to?
Did you just say we're?
DG Smith?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a collaboration between DG Schmidt, the architect, and the contractor and the village slash library.
In the
It's gonna
building committee.
be an ongoing.
And the build committee, or no?
For bigger decisions probably, but on a day-to-day basis, it's probably gonna be those people. And I'm guessing too, like, most things probably just between the construction manager, project manager, and architect, they can hash things out too.
So if there's an issue between those three people, who do they go to?
They'll go to, well, I think we need to talk through some of that, because they will need a point person, but I think it probably makes sense for them to go to Amy or me first.
Yeah.
And then if we're like, ooh, we think this should be a building committee or a library board decision, like it's something that might be,
I think it should go to both of you.
yeah, no, okay.
Because there are fiscal responsibilities that you're thinking of, and she's trying to make it work out.
I assure you, Amy is also looking at
So,
fiscal.
no, I know that, and she's
Yeah.
doing a great job. It just, I don't feel like it would be necessary.
Yeah, no, I've been pretty involved, so.
And the South Central Library System, we're a member of, also reviews the design, and they're familiar with libraries.
Yeah,
And they're free to us as a part of it.
yeah, they're gonna help us with all the furniture purchasing, which we would have had to pay our architect to do, and they're doing it for
So
free.
it's quite a bit
So
of
that's awesome.
double check. Which is good.
So yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to this project and a lot of things happening every single day. And so if you have questions or want to know why something happened, please reach out to myself or Amy. Yeah, or library staff, they probably also know. We're not trying to keep anyone out or, we're not, we want to keep you guys up to date, but things are just moving really quickly. So, and I will say Amy is out the next 2 weeks on medical leave,
Surgery.
but she'll be, I think, somewhat answering emails, but feel free to reach out to me and I can probably figure out.
Hey, Jamie, you still there?
Yes.
Do you have anything to add?
Nope. I wasn't at the last meeting. They're at a terrible time in the middle of the day. It's hard for me to get there,
Okay.
but I try my best.
Okay, so,
It's just an update, I guess.
okay.
Yep.
Scott, I was gonna ask you, I don't remember, did you give any update on the Hurleyman? It's sold, right?
Oh, yeah. The what?
The Hurleyman tractor. How much did we get for it?
$275.
That's almost what we paid for it when it was new.
Really?
Yeah. So we did good on that.
Yeah. $275, then we got $800 for that blade that we never used.
Pardon me?
We got $800 for that 5-foot plow blade that we never used.
Okay. That's a tractor that we had in the village. It had a little backhoe on it. It's Hurleyman. It's from Switzerland. And they were selling them at Herbs, and then they pulled out of the United States. Luckily, Scott got it. We had a problem with it. Scott figured it out, got it running. So we put it on the market and got rid of it as quick as we could. We did very good price-wise.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we only paid that much.
Well, Steve Hudson told me we made at the most 10. So I think we were pretty close.
So does that money go back into the public works?
I don't know.
It goes into the public works equipment sinking fund. Unless the village board wants us to go somewhere else.
Okay. Anybody got anything else?
You don't need it, do you?
Just a reminder that the next meeting, is Wednesday.
What,
What do you need? I don't know, I can't. Oh, I thought you get something you can show. I'm sure there's things that I could think of if I sat here and thought about it.
Okay, let's not do
There's
that.
nothing like right on the top of my head that like I need to.
Okay.
okay, did everybody hear about the next meeting? It'll be on Wednesday, the day after the election.
19th.
Okay,
Move to adjourn.
anything else?
7:39.
Have it in there.
Thank you for all your work, Kelsey, and.
Yeah.
We need a second, Jenna.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Bye.
Our reserve.